Welcome to the process, guys. Today we have a very, 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 should I say, international show. So, Alessandra, I'll let you take over and let's get into it.
All right, guys. So this is going to be a special episode of the process. I'll be moderating a panel, and we'll be taking a look at what that CRCST really means. When we know that certification is international, but what really makes up the international roots of sterile processing? So I have with me today a panel of technicians that have gone all the way from techs to travelers to managers, educators, and beyond. So please help me welcome Deville, Angie, Kelvin, Ofoe, and Denard. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we have been having a wild conversation in the backstage. At some point, we're gonna have to figure out how to record that because I think it's its own episode in and of itself.
But hold up. Let's get into one thing everybody waiting for, just to let them know that the show is on. So let's get into the intro.
Welcome back to the process. So to get this conversation started, I think it'd be great to just go around the room and hear, where are you guys from?
Starting with me?
Let's start with Deville, yes.
Well, my name's Deville, as you can see. I'm originally from Haiti. I was born in Haiti, raised in the DMV area, District, Maryland, and Virginia. Most of my extensive experiences has been within the DC area and along the East Coast. Right now, I'm currently still on the East Coast, and that's pretty much a little bit of my geographic background.
Awesome. How about you, Angie? Where are you from?
So I was born in Massachusetts, but I lived back and forth between Puerto Rico and the States. I've worked in Massachusetts my whole life. But yeah, the Puerto Rican pride and my mom pushing that on me has pushed me to just say, hey, I'm Puerto Rican.
Yes. Kelvin, where are you from?
Hey, I'm Kelvin. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I reside now in the DMV area. I've been in healthcare for about 12 years and traveling extensively and held several positions throughout that time. And I just, I enjoy being here and I just want to get into it.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us today. Ofoe, where are you from?
Ofoe.
and I had it. What happened?
You had it.
Ofoe, where are you from, man?
Originally from Oklahoma, born and raised. Moved around for a little bit. Ended up in Massachusetts. Been there for a very long time, over 10 years. Been in sterile processing ever since then. Been traveling from the east to the west coast, working. Now I'm in the Midwest in Kansas, but to theater near you, I'm going somewhere else.
They're gonna be like, where is Waldo? Where is Ofoe?
That's right. That's what I get from all my friends. Where are you now?
Where are you now?
But it's somewhere. I'm going to be there for a long time though, because I have some other things that I want to accomplish in this career, but not just this career, just expanding myself.
Great, yeah. That's awesome. Man. Can't wait to hear more about it. Denard, where are you from?
Oh, hey, I am Denard. I'm originally from St. Lucia, a small island in the West Indies. Yeah, 14 by 28 square miles. So if you haven't visited, go down, check it out. I've been in sterile processing for 11 years or so. It's been a good profession to me. I've learned a lot. I feel I'm starting to make an impact. I'm in leadership now, and I'm happy. I get to mold the department in the way I see that will serve the patients to the best of my ability. So I don't know if I said that right, but I'm just happy that I am able to impact patient safety in a positive way.
Awesome. Yeah, leadership will definitely be a roller coaster, but that is part of the reward, is being able to have some influence in the process. So we're from all over. I'm from Carbondale, Illinois, Midwest, small town, not Chicago, very, very much not Chicago. But can you guys tell me one thing that you think people, like a common misconception about where you're from? And let me start with Ofoe. What do you think is a common misconception about where you're from?
Everyone think we still ride on horses. We do not. We have cars and trucks.
Oh wow!
We do.
Yeah. I moved to Atlanta. The first thing they asked, "Are you still riding on horses?" I'm like, "You see my car?
Got
I
here
have
in
a
the car.
nice truck over there."
Wow.
Kelvin, what about you? What's one misconception people have about Brooklyn?
We always carry guns and speak and which is actually it's kind of true. But we have, how they say you have that professional face, so we know how to put it down and change faces.
There you go.
It's a misconception, but it's true as well.
Yes. Miss Angie, what's a common misconception folks have about Puerto Rico?
I have to say that we are a state. Or, I mean, I've heard often, doesn't the U.S. own Puerto Rico? No, we're a commonwealth. That's what we are. We are a colony of the United States.
There you go. All right. Heard it here. Say it loud. Heard it here
That's
first.
right.
Say it loud. Yep.
Dinar, what's a common misconception folks have?
A common misconception that St. Lucia is in Jamaica. Yeah. What part of Jamaica is that? So,
Heard that one before, actually. Deville, how about you? What's a common misconception people have about Haiti?
A major common misconception is that all Haitians do voodoo, and Haiti's the in the world. Those are misconceptions.
Thank you guys for sharing. All right, so I had some questions prepped. I'll definitely be asking some of those, but we'll also be seeing how the conversation flows. But I wanted to start with the first question on the list. Thinking back to when you were growing up, what's one moment that you would say is influential to you? All right, let's see. Kelvin, I'm going to pick on you.
Okay, that wasn't one of the questions that
Look, Kelvin, throw them in the chat. The ones you're ready for.
All right. I'm knocking hard on 50. I don't look it. So I've had a background. Many things, I've had guns put to my head. Shut up before. Not my questions. So
no, yeah. Does that background influence how you feel about your patients at all?
Yeah. So been in surgery before on myself. And you have to give me a second because it's very personal. The year was 2003. Wow. Yeah, the year was 2003. I had surgery on myself. I had a cholecystectomy, gallbladder surgery. I went inside the operating room thinking everything was good. I woke up 17 stitches down my stomach. They said that how they couldn't stop the bleeding. But also there was a blackout from Maine to Florida at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, you have those stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where you could see yourself on that table because you were on the table. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I think that's powerful, especially for technicians that haven't been personally touched by surgery.
Sure.
I think that's powerful.
Thank you.
That's big.
Thank you.
Deville, can you tell me about something influential that really gives lends to your drive now from growing up?
Yeah, I have a couple of occurrences where healthcare had saved my family, different occurrences. But to be more relevant to the question asked, while growing up, um, I used to always have fears of my parents passing away, dreams about it, and nightmares, you might say. I do remember, I can recall one time my father, he's a man who works 18-hour days, 7 days a week. He's a very hard worker, and I get that from him. But one day, due to the fact that he lacked sleep, my father fell asleep behind the wheel, while he was going to work. Got into a terrible accident. He had to get airlifted to John Hopkins in Baltimore. He broke four of his ribs, and he needed a blood transfusion. And my mom was there to save him. My father's still alive, 77 years old, and still pushing. But what really impacted my career was sterile processing. That really made me want to say, "Hey, man, I want to be the best tech. I want people to know my name. I want to be in history." Was when my mother passed away. After she had a VP shunt, she had an infection. I don't know if that infection was caused from incompetence from the tech, but it affected me, and it definitely pushed me to have the job that I have today.
Man, thank you for sharing that. I hear you too on that fear, because as a tech, we put up so many trays, thousands of instruments over our career, and we personally strive to make sure we never make a mistake, but we don't honestly know, if we've ever missed something, forgot a lock, left the integrator out, missed some bioburden, and the impact that it could have on a patient is outstanding. We could be talking about a couple of repeat surgeries, or just some more antibiotics, but we can also be talking about loss of life. Like, it is that serious, and sometimes I wonder if our field remembers that all the time.
Absolutely.
Man, Denard, what's something growing up that was influential for you that really lends to your drive today?
A whole bunch of things. So I have a piece of Calvin's story in me too. So back home things happen.
Sure.
There's violence and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Sure.
So that's back then. I'm not going to repeat that and bring that back. But um, one of the things, and it still goes on today from time to time, that people always underestimate me and what I could do. So I always, even in stat and cell processing, and just basically in life in general, people always, every time you do something nice, oh, that's lucky. Oh, that's smart. Oh, I didn't know
That's
you
true.
could do that. It's always those little underhanded comments.
A
So
little hateration.
yeah, so every time, I look for stuff like that, and I try and, not necessarily prove people wrong, but just stretch myself and push forward and do as much as I could.
I think that's important, really valuable. Oh, Fui, how about you?
Um, Pivotal moment for me. I didn't really see too much in my future. What we were told growing up: find a warehouse, find a state job, and I wanted to think outside the box. So when I was told that's how I'm gonna be, I never see myself staying in Oklahoma. I wanted to break out the box. I always traveled, even if I filled up my truck, drove into my truck, ran out of gas. And then I think the most pivoting part for me is when my daughter asked for something, I couldn't give it to her. So it pushed me to go out and find other things to do. First of all, brand new kid. She barely walking, but she can talk and all that. And it really it stunned me when she asked for something and I couldn't give it to her. Working in the warehouse, you feel like you're making a lot of money. But really and truly, out there, and not bringing a lot of personal into it, but after paying child support, paying car payment, paying rent, insurance, guess what? The kettle is ran dry. So,
Mm.
it just made me feel like I want to do more. And then when I moved up to Mass, my uncle approached me after a big steamy argument with my father, ready to move. It's like, I can't do this no more. I'm grown. I got to move out. And that right there is shot putting me into this career. And ever since then, I haven't stopped. I was homeless for about 6 months, lived in my truck in the winter in Massachusetts, but
Ooh.
I wasn't going back home. Yeah, I know it.
Yes,
But
I'm over here
but
like,
yeah,
oh
but I kept the truck running. I kept gassing it, and then
no.
when I found out, sterile processing, as soon as you get into it, you can make money. And what I was told by my teacher, you're one of those people, you'll never stop making money. You'll always keep growing because that's what you like to do now. I see it in you. Ever since then, I've been running. I've been running. But since the pandemic, or a little bit before the pandemic, I started putting a real footprint in sterile processing. So I started making processes and people start hearing about it. So, those main two events made me turn my whole mindset around and how I do things. Then I started surrounding myself with people that knew the processes, knew sterile processing. You change your birds that you flock with, you start flocking with them. So
Come on.
that's right.
Respect.
Cause
Mhm.
that saying bird. Come on, that is so serious.
That's one of my favorite parts of the show.
That's so serious. I want to drive that home. I hope people are paying attention to that. You will rise to the level of the company that you keep around
You
you.
will. And
So you have to
I
think
met a
about
lot
that
of
when
good
you're ready to
people.
upgrade your life.
Yeah,
You know.
definitely.
I could relate to you, Ofoe. I had a lot of dead end jobs too, man.
Yeah,
Like sterile processing saved my life, man. I could have been in jail, locked up, dead, whatever it
absolutely.
was, because I unfortunately didn't go to college, and people pray for my downfall as well. So I definitely feel you on that one, man.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
I promise you this. Everyone that told me I failed or I'm going to fail, that was like that chip on my shoulder to keep it moving.
Keep it going, yes sir.
And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure a lot of people is the same way.
They said I eat nose for breakfast. Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Like Cheerios.
All right, Miss Angie, an influential moment that leads into your drive.
So there was many. I mean, I've always had an interest in the medical field. You'll
Mm.
laugh, but I wanted to be a pediatrician.
I
Oh,
wanted to be
that was
one
my
for a
goal. But
while. Yeah.
I had a child at 20. So I mean, not a lot of time for college, and you have to support yourself and a child. But also that stigma, that perception of Hispanics don't like to work. We
Mm.
come here and we
What?
live off. You know what?
Right.
No, we don't. I am the hardest working manager that I've seen out there, and my staff would tell me all the time. They're like, I've never seen a manager that works like you. I like to show people that that's just there's a few that don't like to work, but that's not all of us. So,
Right.
and the more they told me I couldn't do something, the more I would show them, yes, I can,
Yes,
and
you
I will
can.
get there. Sterile processing, it's one of my biggest passions, I have to say. I think there's always something to learn. The subject matter expert, like we're never subject matter experts.
Right.
There's always more new technology, something changed, and IFU, whatever, sterilization process. So it just keeps me wanting to learn, and it keeps me interested. There's never a dull moment in the industry. And I've set an example for my kids. This has been my career since I was 17 years old.
Wow.
So
Oh
I mean,
wow.
I
that's what's
started
up.
with a technical high school. I had no idea what sterile processing was, but they said, "Hey, the hospital has an opening," and it was walking distance from my house. So
Yeah.
I applied for it, and I've been doing it since I was 17.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I would love to see programs like that everywhere. You
Agreed.
know, just to
I think they
just to
coming.
give. I think so too. I think
Yeah,
folks are
they was
figuring it
there
out.
for a little bit, but I think they're coming back now,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
it's gonna be a better thing because now we know more, so we can teach better, right?
exactly.
Absolutely.
I've reached
Absolutely.
out to my technical high school, telling them, hey, this is what I started with you guys, and I feel I can share it with these kids, and you can spark that passion in these kids at such a young age,
Yes.
and it could be a stepping stone. You can start an SPD, you can become a surge tech, you can go into nursing or nursing. Um, most people don't know who we are, what we do.
They didn't, but they gonna know now.
That's right.
But I think that's something so important. The way that SPD has really elevated everybody's careers and everybody's incomes, because one of the big things that we talk about is how we don't necessarily make enough money in the field. But also, this can be a dramatic leap in income for folks and really change people's lifestyles.
Right.
All right, guys, if you have not already, please, if you are on YouTube, I need you to stop what you're doing right now. Go over and like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate it. Every time that you like, share, subscribe, that helps the algorithm, and we will get this out to more and more people. And we definitely want to share these messages with as many folks as possible.
And don't forget, guys, use your pinky finger and hit that notification bell so that you will be notified every time we have new content or a new show coming out.
All right. And if you are on LinkedIn or Facebook, go ahead right now and hit that share button. Okay, so my next question for you guys, being that we're all from different places, and even more diversity than from where you're from, anybody else here speak another language besides English? All right, Miss Angie. You said I can understand. That's important.
Yeah. I know I'd ask for something to eat from my mom.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, Angie, what language do you speak?
I am fluent. I speak, read, and write in Spanish, and it has been immensely helpful in many aspects of my job. I mean, from helping a visitor coming into the facility that can't speak English, to helping a patient, and even sometimes staff members that are not fluent with English. So it has been immensely helpful. Even with my technician, not certified yet, they need some coaching, some tutoring, and I've been able to help them in that aspect as well.
Nice.
Interesting.
I actually speak a little Amharic, Ethiopian, and Arabic, and I dabble a little in Mandarin Chinese. So
Dabble in the Mandarin. Okay.
Interesting.
Deville?
I speak. I'm very fluent. I speak, read, and write Haitian Creole. I can read French, understand French, but I can speak it seldomly, not too much. Spanish, I can understand some things in Spanish only because Creole and French is very similar to certain words in Spanish, but mostly primary language would have to be Creole. If I was to speak it now, you guys would probably think I just got off the boat or something, but definitely Haitian Creole, and it's helped me a lot. You know, especially when I went to Boston for the first time. My first contract at in Boston was at BMC, and it was just a huge Haitian community in Boston that I was unaware of. You know, we have third generation Haitians. We have multiple Haitian restaurants. I felt very at home. You know, walking through the hospital and we seeing instructions translated in Creole. You know, sitting down having lunch with Haitian doctors. You know, just seeing the unity. Like the Haitian doctor will actually sit down with EDS. They actually sit down with other people because we're speaking that same language, and I felt that unity. I was also able to help people within the department. Some of them, it was like a teaching hospital. So some of the people coming in, they were in school. You know, some of them had questions that they really couldn't bring together because of the language. So I was there to assist them and help them. So I was pretty proud of them at that time.
Oh, that's awesome. That was definitely my experience moving out of the Midwest to the West Coast and then to the East Coast. Was just experiencing so many different cultures in the same place and established, because I grew up in a small town that had a university, so we had people coming in from all over the world, but they were students, and so they were going to leave, so they didn't really set up businesses. You didn't have this wide plethora of restaurants and stuff. But getting out to Oakland, it was like, wow, I didn't realize how big the world was, how many different types of cuisine, how many languages, and the communities, because that was definitely a place where I was able to, like, if I was going to get my hair braided, like the aunties in the shop would put me up on game about what restaurants to go to or what grocery stores. If my car broke down, who to call. Like, they just always had this community aspect of taking care of each other.
Yes,
I
man.
was super thankful for that. Awesome. All right. And how many of you guys, just by a show of hands, have ever been a traveler? No, we have some on everybody. Okay, I'm about to say almost everybody. Okay. All right. That's a huge part of our industry right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I think I might make this the last background question, but you got everybody on this panel so far. All I've heard is that you drive, you get things done, you don't back down from challenges. But I know that nobody is self-made. So can you talk to me about a hero in your life, and how they influenced you? And I'm gonna start with Denard.
Oh man, on the spot.
On the
Oh,
spot.
Now you know.
cold,
You ain't
cold,
look ready, you know.
cold. In my life, so there are a few folks, some more than others. So the person that really impacted my life, it was my aunt's husband. So he basically had confidence in me to do things that I didn't know I could do. So his expertise um was with vehicles. He repaired vehicles. He drove back home. He drove a minibus. He did his own repairs, changed his tires, all that good stuff. Switch the engine out, all that good stuff. And then when I got with him, he showed me everything how to do fiber work, how to change my tires, change my transmission, do all that stuff. And he actually let me drive his car. I didn't have a license. So like when like he spoke to me like, yeah, you're gonna do it. Like there is no like maybe if like let's this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna change this. We're gonna do that. Give me the tools. We're gonna so after a few years with him, I felt like I could almost do anything I wanted to. If I wanted to teach myself to do something, it would be easy. It's just I don't want to say common sense, but you know, if I had to learn something, there's nothing that could stop me from learning it. So
Awesome. That's a
yeah.
beautiful thing to have poured
So
in.
he passed away last year at 52. He had a stroke, so you know it was a sad time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I took a lot of stuff from him. Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that.
No problem, no problem.
Miss Angie, a hero for you?
I have to say my mom. The expectation from her was set very high from day one. A C was not acceptable in my household. You are A's and B's, and that's all the way through high school.
Mm-hmm.
She pushed to get out of us what she knew was in us. And I say me and my sister were like a year apart. So I saw her work third shift job for 13 years, to provide for us. She never complained, but we always knew what was expected from us. And she pushed the language on us too. You're gonna read it, you're gonna write it. I remember one year I went to 3 different schools because she was just trying to make it easier for us. And even in a school here and a school in Puerto Rico, and she still, because of her, I was still able to pass that year honor roll.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to say, because of her, I am where I am in my life right now.
All right. Shout out to Mama Angie. I love it. Deville, a hero in your life?
Like Leonard, I have a couple of heroes as well. Of course, number one would have to be mom, but due to the fact that she already has such a great title as mom, I would have to give this nominee to to my friend. He's like a brother. He's like a mentor. At one point in my life, I felt as if he was an angel. Um, just because of like I met this guy when I was 17. He was my student manager, and at my first job, which was at Chick-fil-A. That's why I always say my pleasure. So I don't know. He just believed in me, man. He believed in me. I looked up to him, and every move he made, I wanted to do it the same way. And at moments in my life where I was scraping that pot, he would align certain things in my life to make sure I didn't fail. And also, if I'm making a wrong decision, he didn't stray away from telling me how ignorant I was, or how unwise that decision was. And I'm just blessed to still have him in my life. He goes by the name of Van Somerville, just in case he might be watching this interview one day. He can know how much I really appreciate him and what he's done for me. So definitely.
That's fantastic. Ofoe, a hero for you?
So I got a couple. My mom is for one. She was at one that never let us sleep. She had 3 boys, so we had to be up every day, 5:00 a.m. I don't care if you had school or not. It taught us discipline. But the two I would say, per my career, two ladies, Kathy Falk and Patricia Coffey. Um, they pushed me out the nest. They started me learning more. They you know pushed me to travel. Well, Patricia pushed me to travel, but Kathy, she's my biggest mentor. I got another one out there. I know y'all know her, Marjorie Wall. I did a lot of work with her too, but Kathy is definitely she don't let me stay in the box. Even when I want to get out or if I start to move somewhere different, she'll definitely say, hey, come back. Uh, it's hard about going to college and things right now, and that's been one of my downfalls in this career because climbing to the top, you don't have those credentials. Um, but when I turn to her and ask her questions, she'll tell me straight up, if you want that's what it's going to take to get it. So she definitely turned my mindset, and we've been in a couple of accounts together, and she let me put my hands in anything. So, if you don't have one of those people in your corner, that's going to let you do and play with everything you can in order to succeed, it's hard.
It is hard.
So if you learn those tangibles, you can teach everyone else too, but for you, it's personal.
Absolutely.
So,
Thank you for that.
mhm.
Kelvin?
I actually have a couple. While I was listening to everybody, it actually dawned on me this one particular person, and I don't know their name. But I'm gonna start with my mother first. The reason why I got emotional when I started about my surgery in 2003 was because 3 days later my mother was in surgery after that.
Oh man.
She went through 9 surgeries and she passed away at 57. So a couple things about that. But I remember one college that I went to was Hampton University, and I graduated with a economics degree, and I was supposed to be this stockbroker and blah 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 blah. And I remember the year, I think it was 2004. There was a great financial institution in New York, and I applied. They called me down. They said they were interviewing 500 people, and they were only going to pick 2 people. Okay. I got picked. I was one of the people. I remember going into, my uncle bought me a suit, an $800 suit, and I was going in there and, yeah. I remember going in and the CEO walks out and, I thought I looked good. And he says, where are you going with those dreadlocks? I'm not giving you my money.
Wow.
Well, today, I'm making money. I got your money.
There you go.
Yeah? Yeah.
Yes.
Today I win.
Turning point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Has anybody else on the panel, have you ever faced any type of discrimination for your hair at work? Well, not 100% of the panel.
But yeah, sorry.
Actually,
a lot.
For the way I look, yeah.
Yeah, actually,
Oh, okay.
I've been growing my hair for 7 years now, and I didn't start showing it till during the pandemic because I
Absolutely.
was always afraid that I would get stereotyped because I had dreads. People would know I have something under there, but they wouldn't. I would never show it. So I always felt that even my first supervisor interview, I actually cut my hair. I was growing my hair for like a year. For my first
Wow.
supervisor interview, I actually cut it. Um,
Man, I'm
so
gasping, but when I took my travel contract, I relaxed my hair. I had an afro. And before I left Illinois to go to California, I relaxed my hair
Wow.
because I wondered what the reaction was gonna be. Man, okay, so Angie, I saw you reacting to
Right.
what
I
what was your
just think
experience?
it's so sad that we see it more often now. We see this type of behavior more frequently. And I don't want to say I'm blessed, but most of the time people don't know what nationality I am. They have no idea. But when they find out, you can see a change in that behavior. And it's sad because
It's very sad.
my nationality doesn't take anything away from the professional that I am. If anything, I think it brings more to the table. But you do see it not only because of the way we look or because of the way we speak, but for being a female.
Whew, yes, definitely that. I know for me coming up as a manager, I started very young. I was a supervisor at 25, and when I started as a supervisor, I was working on the shift that I transitioned on. So my team was really supportive. But when I took my travel position, I was brand new to that, and I faced so much pushback about being a female and having and it was random because you got it for various reasons. Like sometimes it was women that had trouble taking direction because they felt like it wasn't coming from a guy, so you don't have the authority. I had folks discriminating against my age because they were like, "Well, I have kids your age," and it was like, "Okay, that's great, but your daughter can't fire you, and I can." So it's a different relationship. So
Mhm.
it's interesting the intersections of all these various identities that we all carry. Anybody else had a hair story from work?
I'm not a hair
yeah,
story.
sorry.
That's
There you go.
that blew me away, Kelvin. Okay.
Oh,
All right. So,
Kelvin.
real quick, so I got another interview with another company.
Mm.
This guy actually pulls out a red, gold, and green hat with fake dreadlocks in it.
Oh wow.
What?
Yeah. So, you know,
Woo!
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And there are always stereotypes, especially when you're from a different island, because especially on the dreadlocks too. People assume you're smoking weed every day. People
Mhm.
assume you just so laid back. You're from the islands. You don't really
Right.
care about anything.
Right.
And people assume people give you those nicknames, Bob Marley and all that stuff,
Right.
thinking, well, you're on that level. Especially when you're in management, it doesn't really fly with me like that. So,
No.
so like, it's just strange. That's why, like, the first 6 years, I never like. I would come to work, my hair was covered. I would leave, my hair was covered. No one would ever see my hair. But now I really don't care. So since I started the show, I kind of
Used
like,
to
what, I
that.
gotta lay it out. So
True, and I think it's one of the reasons why we talk about representation mattering right so much, but it's the reason why it matters because maybe a young person or anybody, it doesn't necessarily have to be young people, but maybe somebody watching this show will think twice about changing the natural way that they are, or how they want to show up at work because of what somebody else's bias is or opinion is.
Well, it's still kind of the thing going on. You're not hired for certain. You're hired for a certain look.
Right.
That still goes on.
It definitely does.
Absolutely.
So
Definitely does.
Yeah,
And I
you,
you
think
know,
it's another reason why we enjoy having all of you guys on for this episode because we want folks that look like everybody on this panel to know that you absolutely do have a seat at this table. There's nothing barring you from stepping into this career if that's what you want to do. And just like in life, yes, you're gonna come up against folks that have silly opinions, but it will not stop you from creating success if that's what you want to do in SPD.
Absolutely.
True. And I know I probably haven't gotten some jobs because everyone's coming there clean cut, with their little fade and
Yeah.
well
You
lined
gotta
up. And you have another guy
change
coming
that
in for a suit.
attitude about what's professional. This is
Yeah.
professional. Everything you
Yeah.
see here is professional.
Yep. Yep.
Oh man.
So
Hey, I changed my name one time so I can get a job. So I know. You know.
Yeah. I mean, and it's sad that a lot of people will try to act like it's not a big deal, but I mean, we've even seen states have to make laws, around protecting people's classes, or protecting people's hair. I can't tell you how many times I've had it. No, you can't touch my hair. No, I'm not a chia pet. It's wild, man.
I've had
Thank you.
challenges within the hospital.
God.
In fact, I'm not gonna go too personal. He and I have a mutual thing, but I have challenges in the hospital in the OR, possibly because of the fact that I'm where I'm at without a college degree. I have to say it's by choice. Because my father's illiterate, and my mother never went to school a day in their life. And my dad was still smart enough and wise enough to get me and my families on a plane to America in 1994. So I use him as a model, but I had challenges because of that. I'm very competent in what I do. I'm very good at what I do. Very effective. I didn't lie on my resume or my years of experience. Like Alessandro said, you might have 20 years in SPD and you're in one position. That's not my fault. All right. I'm fueled. I'm driven. I put the work in. I'm here where I'm at, and everything you see is real. But they were confused. They were in distraught because they couldn't see how it was possible for me to have these results with the education that I had. So I've always had that challenge, And then again, I'm an African American male. I wasn't in my 30s yet when I got into leadership. So all those things were challenges, and most of the challenges I received, sadly, was coming from my people in my community.
Hey, say it strong. That's real.
Yeah, that's real.
Only a couple people really recognize my leadership and what I was bringing to the table, and I'll always have appreciation for them. But majority of everybody else was really very spiteful towards me, and I had to deal with those power struggles, and I learned from them. And you'll never see me walking around. No, I'm not. I'm not acting. I'm just reporting, making a paper trail, and then we'll take it from there. But definitely that was a huge challenge that I feel as if still exists, and a lot of people might have experienced that as well.
Absolutely. Anybody else ever had an experience like that?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I think in
Not in
leadership we
sterile
all do.
processing.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, go ahead, Angie. I'll go next.
I mean, I just,
Before
I,
you
I
feel
just
like you
have
got
to
them all.
agree.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah.
lay it all out.
Well, you
We're
know.
here to help you. Lay it out.
This turned into a therapy session.
Oh yeah, seriously.
We're gonna process on the process.
No, I think one of the biggest things that, and it drives me nuts, is I will do like when they bring in the consultant companies and the consultants are agreeing with everything Angie said, but Angie doesn't have MBA at the end of her name.
Woo, Angie!
Come on now.
We getting into it.
I've had consultants sit at the table with the CEO and the CNO and say, I don't know why you're not listening to her. She's on point with everything she's telling you. So it's like, you could have saved yourself a lot of money.
I was just about to say, but it's that
I do
money.
my work,
Better I'll contribute to my department.
Another thing I've encountered is one of my male texting to me, women should be at home cooking and cleaning and doing my laundry. Yes. And I looked at him and I said, sweetie, I'm here to tell you what to do. Let's get moving.
High five.
But you see this across like more and more, and it's more often now. I mean, I think 10 years ago I wasn't seeing as much, as maybe because I wasn't in the role of leadership, but now I just see it frequently. And that those letters at the end of your name, I think I have a say it loud about it, saying, I don't have a lot of letters at the end of my name, but the ones I do have, I work hard for. And, you know, they mean a lot to me because you need to know what you're doing to be in sterile processing.
Absolutely.
We're not glorified dishwashers. We're professionals.
Professionals.
I think
We are professionals.
You know, college education is great. That's the route
Yeah.
to go, but you have the letters that you need
That's
in
right.
order to do this job. And I think that is a very huge point that you bring up about the knowledge that gets used in SPD, because there are a lot of people that make money off of the knowledge that we have, and we don't necessarily get those same checks and or the same respect. You know, if you were to ask for the money that they pay to that consulting company for the information that you provide for them already at your base pay, they would have been like, no, we would never pay that to you. We'll never pay that to you.
Right.
That's
But
right.
they'll bring this group in here for 5
I've been there.
days. You know, we've
I've
we've
been
all
there,
been
yeah.
there.
And
you have to
design whole
watch.
departments.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely, yes.
You get no credit. It's just, oh, it
Nothing.
looks nice. Call somebody else. Oh, you
Right.
know what? You can add this. I'm like, it's on the checklist.
It's right.
We waiting on it though.
Or it's in the email that we asked
That's right.
you, last year. It's in the capital request that we put in 2 years
Right.
ago. It's in the
Right.
FTE request we gave you yesterday month.
Right.
You know, it infuriates me. It infuriates me because it just demonstrates a disconnect and an inability for them to determine what is competence. Because, you know, looking at a sheet of paper and seeing CRCST and a bachelor's degree may be an indicator to you, but it may not be. I may get that person to interview and they demonstrate to me that they really don't know what they're doing.
Right.
They
You know?
believe that a fix in 2012 is the same fix that can be done in 2022.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
I think Fat Joe said it best. Yesterday's price isn't today's price.
It sure ain't.
So
Oh,
true.
look,
What
and
really
it's
boils me is when you give all this information and then they call the people that's not specialists as we are or experts, however you want to call yourself, because either or there's room to grow. But they say to you, can you help me understand what's going on? What? I'm paying you.
Supposed to know.
So that's the hardest part.
that does hurt.
I see a lot of societies now starting to add us in, but it's not enough. That they'll get one, and that's because it's that person that got sweet with somebody inside instead of getting a pleather. At least a handful. And we can give real dynamics for what this department needs to look like, what it needs to be, how it needs to be built, and how it's going to function to make the flow the way it should be, needs to be for our patients. And I think that's every person that's in leadership. I think that's our biggest gripe besides money. That you're not listening to me, but you want to pay someone $150,000 for 3 months, and I won't even probably make it. Well, I have, and I do, and I will still make it in a lifetime. But
Come on.
it's hard. It's hard and then it's like, well, don't ask me nothing else. Y'all got it. And then when they build it wrong, what are we gonna do now?
Right.
Right.
Right. Especially when we're talking about capital planning, because construction is only done every so often. So once that person lays down, right? Once that person lays down that horrible plan, everybody's suffering from.
Well, that's the power of sales and marketing, and
True.
who you know. So,
yeah,
and
I think it's also a failure of the purchasing process, because the people, like you said, the people that are responsible for this stuff coming in is usually surgeons, nurses, perioperative, personnel, and it's not typically SPD saying we think we should invest in this system or that system. But we are definitely expected to deal with the fallout when those systems don't work the way that they want them to.
Absolutely.
I'm actually happy to say I'm at a facility where I get input on everything that goes on with the process.
I mean, they've learned from their mistakes.
And I want to give a shout out to person like you asked that question earlier. Person you want to credit to your growth. My first director in leadership, she did everything. She was in the office and then she came down and cleaned commodes. So I kind of learned that work ethic from her. that like no matter what position you're at, there's nothing that's off limits to do.
Yes.
You're not too high. So I would like, let me give you a situation. She would come down and she'd say, "Is there anything you want me to do?" And I'll be like, "Nah, I'm not gonna ask my director to, clean commodes. Like go to the clean side and organize, do something nice and clean. She would put on a little gown and start cleaning commodes. I'm like, "You don't have to do that." She's like, "No, no, 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 no. You need help." So, and she did that multiple times. Not like when she wanted to get kudos for doing something nice, she would come down before she leave and just say, "Hey, you need some help with that? Okay, I see some commodes there. Let me clean them for you. I see some, medical equipment there. Let me clean that." So, I definitely got a whole new sense seeing her do that as a director. And then she had multiple hats wearing, so she was in charge of multiple departments, besides perioperative services. So, I definitely think of that every time I look at myself and I say I don't want to do something. I think of her coming down and spending her time after a busy day, doing that.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a mark of a good leader if they willing to get into the trenches with you or not.
Absolutely.
So everybody here had pretty different paths of getting into SPD, but what's one thing you were surprised to see, one event or something that you were surprised to see when you started working in the hospital? I'm gonna pick on
Thinking,
Deville.
one thing I saw within the SPD department that a couple of things, honestly, that really made me question if this was the right field for me was I currently have anxiety because of certain situations, to be honest with you. Pretty much patient safety being jeopardized for political interests. Um, people running mucks, you know what I mean? Running a coup, might I say. I never thought I'd see that.
Yeah.
But I've seen, a priority task and things that we knew for sure was code of conduct be broken because of a personal relationship somebody in management has with another person. Turning the blind eye, sweeping um, infection control issues under the rug to
Ooh.
individual. I've seen this.
Yeah.
I've also seen fights nearly break out in departments as well,
Mm. Yep.
and those individuals got saved because of employee retention. So I came to realize that maybe the reason why my management or my leadership career at SPD always seems to come to a stop is because I'm not a politician. I come to work to take care of patients and to make sure somebody's mother go home because mine's did it. So
That's it.
I thought I'd never see that. So definitely those things make me question my position instead of processing. But I just readjust and thrive as usual.
Yeah. People ask me that all the time of like why are you so feisty about it? Why do you have so much passion about it?
Yeah, they understand.
Why do you not? I quite
Right.
frankly don't understand. I'm appalled that you don't. I don't understand
Offended.
how you. I really am. I get offended that you could walk yourself through these doors and have the audacity not to tell the truth, be honest, and keep people safe. The fact that there is this common, it's kind of a corporate thing, but this is healthcare, and I understand that it's a business, but we're taking care of people. And so this concept of I'm gonna do spin or I'm gonna kind of polish this up to make it look a certain way. No, because one, you're lying. You're definitely lying. You're either leaving something out or you're misrepresenting this so somebody has a certain conception, which is wrong. And especially when we're talking about things that keep people safe, and especially if we're talking about leadership, you're out of pocket. You are creating an environment where the wrong information is out there and people that are in roles that can make decisions that will impact people's livelihoods or whether or not they live are having to get this wrong information from you. Why? So it still looks good, so the department don't look bad. Come on.
It's terrible.
How do they fix it if they don't know?
How do they do that? How do they do that?
Then it stands up to what kind of morals do you have?
Right.
And can you really understand you don't want your hospital being on TV saying it's been shut down because you didn't do something right or you didn't train your technicians to do it right. So
Yes.
that's how I look at it when
Mm.
when I'm at a hospital. Hey, if it's
Sometimes,
bad, I'm gonna let you know because we gotta fix it.
Because we have to
If you
fix
don't
it.
fix it, and then now I have to stand up to my morals. Listen, we're gonna fix it, y'all. And I understand what C-suite or someone is saying, but we're gonna fix it the way we can. We're gonna do the best we can so we
Yes.
can make sure the infections are not going up, and that we can go home and lay our heads on our pillows and not have to wake up
100%.
thinking about what happened.
What happened?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I definitely echo that about that anxiety. I think we've all definitely had it where you're up at night and you're wondering, and there's really not a way to calm that down outside of okay, I'm gonna just trust that this I'm doing the best, or I'm trying my best to fix this situation. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Sometimes I
Yeah.
question myself: do certain people want to fix the issue? Because it seems as if it's being fabricated and created at times. Like I say, employee retention is a real thing, man.
yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is, and the operating room is a money making business. We see that influence even with surgery types, service line types. I mean, one of the reasons why we put so much emphasis in the ortho is because it makes one of the highest money makers, right?
Like the money maker.
So that
Ortho and
factor is
neuro,
there, right?
because neuro is coming right behind, or if not, right
Right
on
behind.
side by side. And
So
those are two of the most important surgeries in our field right now.
yeah.
Back to
Oh,
back.
and then the scope industry, endoscopy,
Mhm.
and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Scopes is
Absolutely.
big.
Yeah, definitely
Scopes
can't
huge.
deny its influence. How about you, Kelvin? What's something that you were surprised to see taking place inside the hospital?
Um, um, the amount of failures that could potentially take place.
Mm,
There's so many steps, and if one is missed, it can cost a whole lot. I didn't think it was that intricate, but from decon to just the washer window, then to your washer rack, and then to prep and pack, and just what if you missed the wicking agent, or why is the sterile keep failing because somebody put paper? There's so many steps involved, and sometimes there may be a tech who's going through something personal, and that's definitely missing. It can cause an SSI or something else, and so I'm glad that SPD is as detailed as it is because we are dealing with lives.
definitely. How about you, Angie?
I think I've seen quite a few things that kind of floored me. But I think being in leadership and rounding doors and picking case cards, um, I I've seen like a change from a laparoscopic case to a robotic case without informing the patient, and
Mm,
that drove me nuts because the patient should know what's going on. The patient
definitely.
should be made aware and educated as to what is happening and why it's transpiring this way. So that was something that I has impacted me for some time. Having surgery myself, are things really going to go down the way that they told me it was going to happen?
I know.
Um, it's scary.
It's
Um,
scary.
yeah, I mean, and you're already like as a patient, you're already nervous going into a procedure, and to have somebody just switch it out like that, and they're like, oh, it's considered laparoscopic. Also, listen, the doctors across the room while the robot is working on the patient. That
Yeah.
is not in any way the same.
The
I mean,
same. Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. It's amazing, but the patient should know that it's happening.
Right.
So that was one of the biggest things. The other thing is how hospitals tend to be reactive instead of proactive.
Mm,
I'm making you aware that this is a possible issue. We don't have, I don't know, we don't have enough techs to do the turnover is needed for the day.
yeah.
Why are you gonna wait till something happens and then react to it instead of just let's put something in place now? And you see that. I mean, I've seen
All the
that in
time.
every
Exactly.
facility.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like,
That situation definitely let me know that it was time for me to leave, because it got to the point where I felt like this isn't safe,
right.
and I've reported it. Everybody knows it's not safe. Like
Mm-hmm.
we have mother baby, we have people giving deliveries. We don't have C-sections. We don't have search tests. We don't have anything, and there's no one here. And you want to do add-ons. Like at a certain point, it's just like with nursing, where you have to have a certain ratio of nurses for care. At a certain point, this is just not safe.
Exactly. It's not safe for the patient, but it's not safe for the SPD staff either.
No.
You got technicians working all stressed out. Errors can happen so easily. And quite honestly, I think sometimes the C-suite does not want to hear what's actually going on in that.
Oh, no.
They want you to do the work. They don't care how you get it done, but they want you to get it done. They get a surgeon up there complaining about something, then it's SPD's fault. Even if you told everybody in the world and posted it and sent a memo and put it in the newsletter, the answer for it.
Yeah, and that type of behavior, it has to stop. It's so destructive. Surgeons are our partners, and we need them, and they need us. But this culture where I throw a temper tantrum and I'm able to sweep out a service line or a department, it's insane. And the fact that we do it on a regular basis, where they know they can send a text or a call and somebody's getting fired, or they can send a text or a call and a policy's getting canceled. That's not patient safety.
Too much power, man.
Too much. When we talking about that multidisciplinary team. All right, so one of the questions that I have on here was about spirituality in your community and how that plays a role. But I'm also interested just in general, because we've talked about stress, talked about anxiety that can come with this job, but just in general, how do you keep your spirits up, under this type of stress?
Oh yeah. Can I
go ahead? Yes, please.
All right. So I do believe in God or whatnot. I am Pentecostal, so we believe in what we can see, but we also believe in what we can't see. For the most part, no lie, and I'll take this to my grave. Every department I go into, before I start teaching, before I start talking, before anything, in my way, I bless the department the whole way through. Because I feel like this: if God is not in your presence when you're doing what you can and how you performing anything, or if you just want to say something, I used to be real high-headed, but I had to learn. Everyone don't learn the way I do. So, in order for me to calm down before I can interpret from what I'm trying to say out of my mouth to their ears, to any technician or leadership, because these days I train all. So I have to understand, how I'm going to say something, play it in my head, replay it, say it out, have to think before I speak. And then, we wasn't all growing up. We didn't all understand, it's a certain way you have to speak to people. Most of us knew street, so we talk to them as street. And, it's a little relaxing sometimes when you go to departments that it's like that. But now, programmed for me in my mindset, we're not talking like that. We're going to talk the right way, because everyone needs to speak the right language, the same language. So when someone come talk to you and ask you a question, if they turn around and ask this person, turn around and ask that person, everyone's going to say the same thing. So spirituality for me is very big. As far as letting off depression or whatnot, I encourage everybody, anyone, pamper yourself. We work with our hands. Go get a pedicure. Go get a manicure. We make money with these things, and nobody is going to tell you any different that's been in the field for a long time. Go get a massage. It's a good depress for being upset. This pandemic and all that, it's created a lot of burnout because a lot of stuff's left, and then we have staff to say, I want to stay and still help. If anyone noticed out there, sterile processing, a lot left, but a lot stayed. A lot more stayed than left. And then some are coming back. And it's hard for them to come back because maybe the bridge they burnt, or, they're just scared of what may happen. So, I definitely pray every department I go to. You can call me crazy or not, but that's what I do. And anytime that I have not, it did not go well for me. So.
Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else want to answer that question?
Yeah.
I can So my name was going to be Stephanie, but my mom and dad had such a good relationship with the priests and the nuns that they named me Maria. So that's how I ended up with that name. But I always say I'm a non-practicing Catholic. I believe in that higher power, and I'm a very emotional person. Like, I have a lot of passion. I cry. I was saying this earlier. I cry all the time. It's like a constant thing. But it's just a way to show my emotion.
Yeah, the vent.
I believe that everything happens for a reason, and at the moment that something like terrible is going on, you're like, why me? But everything happens because there's a lesson that you have to learn in that. So I am definitely a firm believer that there is a higher power guiding us. We make our decisions. You know, you have an option. You take road A or road B, and you know it's up to you to make the right decision. So I live on a quote of the day on my desk. I would always have a box of like 200 quotes, you know, or, you know, verses from the Bible, and I would pull one out every day, and that's what I would go with. And if I was having a really rough day, hey, pull another one out. You gotta try to stay positive, even with all the pressure that you're under. You know, people are coming at you from every angle. Sometimes you just gotta take a step back and just take that time out and have that conversation with that higher power.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing.
Can I say something on them quotes?
Please.
Them quotes get you through the day, don't they?
I was just about to add.
I use them a lot.
So I definitely do that. And I did that as a leader for my staff as well. I would write one on the board every day.
Me too.
And you wouldn't get a lot of like loud feedback, but every so often a staff member comes up to me like, thank you so much for posting that. Like, I really needed to see that today. And you never know how those messages are going to connect with people or where they're at. And so it's just something to kind of get your mind thinking in a more positive track and out of that. Okay, what did I miss? What did I forget? What I got to do? When I got to be kid, I got to pick up and just kind of focus you on what matters.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what everybody said. Yeah, you know, definitely kind of like speaking in the stairwell and kind of just like, you know, whether it's a prayer, 23rd Psalm, something, you know, or probably just smacking the cinder block real quick, you know, just to get that out your system to go back in to tackle what's needed. And then obviously, Deville, you know, I'm going to call you in terms of those quotes. When Deville and I worked together, I mean, and he was diligent about it, and it helped in terms of just the overall synergy and groupthink of the department. Everybody, it relieves stress for everybody. That was his daily huddle, his affirmations every day, and it worked.
It works. It definitely works.
It's encouragement. Love it.
Yes. If you are listening, try it out in your huddles. I promise it makes a difference.
Definitely.
Anybody else want to add to that?
I'll share something. Spirituality always played a part in my life. Yes, I'm from Haiti. Yes. But yeah, so spirituality always played a role in my life. My mom, I was pretty much raised in church, man. I was in church 3 days a week. Apart from sterile processing, I'm a musician, I'm a percussionist, I'm a lyricist. And when I get home from work at times, just producing a beat, it just makes me feel so much better. I'm a gospel lyricist, so some of the tracks I write, comparing from when I was 17, when I was writing all secular stuff compared to now, it's all motivational, inspirational stuff. So at times when I write a song, I could probably write a song back in 2018, but for some reason it is like a prophecy to me and to other people when they read it in the current moment. So it's like me writing a message to my future self.
Yeah.
And for some reason,
that's so cool.
Oh, that's touching too.
Look at it, it always seems to relate to that current moment that I'm in.
Yes.
But when I wrote the song, I didn't know why I wrote it. I just wrote it.
So I literally had this experience today because I'm very much creative writing, spoken word, poetry, you know, the whole shebang. And I pulled out. I hosted open mics, the whole thing. But yeah, I pulled out old work today, and I was looking through it, and I was going, oh my God, you were writing that at 17? Like, dang.
telling you,
It's
it's just a
crazy.
beautiful thing just to see how time relates.
Yes.
At the time,
That's
it might
typically what
seem
it is.
irrelevant, but at the right time, and it's always what it needs to be said. Um, when I was in Boston, I went through some hardships where I lost a contract over some petty stuff.
Mm,
Something I didn't do. Honestly, I didn't do it. Yeah, I promise. But I got fired for it, and I was pretty much, and I lost my spot that I was renting out. I got evicted the same day, and I lost my contract the same day.
mm,
It was a pastor in Melrose, Massachusetts, that I was teaching some kids percussion at his church, and I was playing drums at his church as well as Haitian church. The pastor opened his house to me when he learned that I lost my house, I lost my job. He opened his house to me for 2 weeks, allowed me to gather my things. I offered him money, he didn't want to take it. And I felt like if I didn't have that awareness with God, with his ministry, to always seek somewhere to put in his work, I felt as if I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity to yeah, to still gather my things. It was a very powerful moment in my life. And I'll never forget that pastor. Every time I'm in Boston, I'll stop by, say hi to him, play a couple songs here and there, and I'm out. But to finish off with this, um, due to the fact that Alessandra has writing skills as well, I will
uh-huh.
enlighten you guys that I do have a stir processing song.
Oh Lord, I was gonna say it.
Oh,
I do have a stir process,
Okay.
oh,
and I would one day love
let's
for this.
go.
No. Gotta have a first process
And it's
sister,
crazy because it's a song explaining the process.
huh?
Oh, really? Wow,
Oh,
So I'll let you
that's
guys hear
ironic.
it one day. But definitely, music has helped me a lot, man. It just helps me eliminate all impurities from my heart at the moment, and it's just me and that wavelength. So definitely.
Definitely, definitely, brother.
thank
Good
you.
vibes, good vibes.
I would comment though, for me, those quotes got me by a lot, and that's why I post them a lot on LinkedIn. Sometimes I feel like it's just stuff that people want to hear, or just to encourage. Our field, man, it's hard. You know, it may not look hard, and we always tell our technicians,
Hmm.
we make it look easy, but man, it's a
Yes.
lot, and
It's tough in every
some of
aspect.
Yeah.
absolutely, so I post them, and sometimes I just ask people, hey, comment, say something. It's not to for anyone to outlash or anyone. Just sometimes people want to know how you feel because they feel the same way.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So
And have that permission to speak and be real.
yeah,
And
right.
I feel like you gotta present as a certain way.
Yeah, it
Man.
gets hard sometimes. I like the private rooms that we've been
Participating.
forming these days, so we can
Hmm.
speak freely,
Yeah.
and it doesn't go nowhere. Sometimes it's some people that shouldn't be there, because then it travels out. But for
Yeah,
the main part of it, it's been real because it's a
true.
lot of stuff that we've been going through that we just want to let it go. And
Hmm.
hey, do you feel the same way?
Right.
Right,
Right.
So
right.
Somebody got to
for me,
relate.
it's been a lot because
Yeah,
we're all in management or have been in management, so
yeah.
the woes of what you have to go up against, and sometimes you don't even see it because it hits you so fast you
Hmm.
can't react to it.
No.
You
True.
gotta spend a night on it before you come back to it.
Huh.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So the way
yeah,
Uh,
how's
I'm
yours
not really spiritual in the sense of the church and all that. So
what you got?
don't hate me because of that. But I
Never.
no.
do. So
It's a
I
million
have
different types of religion.
I try to be positive. I try to be positive as much as possible and look at things. Whenever I see something in a negative way, I always try and flip it around,
Mm.
um, and look at it in a more positive light. I always try and bring positivity within my department. Like if someone can't do something, I always come out and say, "Oh, you can't open that? Just put some love in it." So, and that's my and now everybody said, like, if you ask him, he's gonna tell you put some love in it. So everybody starts laughing. So it's my little saying. But what I used to do, even before I became in leadership, I always used to have my motivational tapes, my Les Brown
Hey,
playing on my
hey, hey.
workstation,
You speaking real.
my Wayne Dyer playing, how to be a no limit person, my Eric
Come
Thompson.
on.
Yeah, so
ET.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I always had that playing, and people used to walk by my workstation like, "Why you listening to that over and over and over again?"
Because you need
And
it.
then the next year when
Man,
I
That's
left the
food for the
department, like,
soul.
"Oh, that's why you were listening to all those
that's
tapes."
why.
So I always had my ET playing and my Les Brown. I'm listening to all his motivational videos and tips and stuff like that. So that's what kept me motivated because there was no one in my circle that actually was motivating me, saying, "Hey, do this. You could do better at this. You could do that." So I always I just replayed the same thing. Like every night, I'll be in the mood for a different motivational speech. I'll just play that over and over again all night long,
Yeah,
and that'll just keep me just putting my trees together and get me through the night. So
true.
that's
Every
my thing.
morning I wake up, there's one of them on there.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
mean, automatic. That's how I start my day.
Man, you gotta. I'm about to say you gotta watch out what you pour into yourself. That's
It's
for sure.
food for the soul.
Exactly. I'm kind of in Denard's camp. I'm not necessarily of any particular religion, but I believe in a higher power. But as far as just kind of pouring into myself, music definitely is a big thing. I always have it playing in my office, whether it's just like some cafe jams in the background, or letting that playlist go. But that's always been a big one for me. Just kind of center myself before I come in, and because once you come through that door, it's game time. So
Yeah.
and definitely the motivational quotes. I also did a lot of Les Brown, a lot of YouTube motivational videos in the morning, and this one might be kind of random, but I'm gonna share it. Helping me calm down at night, like YouTube videos of like bedtime stories was
Mm-hmm.
a big deal for me. It actually let me stop all the racing thoughts. Where you doing that checklist or whatever. Because I'll be like, oh wait, what happened in the story? Like I don't remember that part, kind of thing. So that was definitely one for me. All right, so we're gonna start to wrap up, but I want to ask, what is one thing that you wish you knew before you started sterile processing? Let's go with Deville. We'll go back that way.
Um, one thing I wish I knew about sterile processing was just how amazing the people were. The social status and social skills that's necessary for success, and just just how to really maneuver around a sterile processing department. Um, at times, you don't have to feel like you're walking on thin ice. You can be yourself. And there's so many people that God just puts in our place and our route to help us get to a different level. And at times, sometimes because we had hurt before from a previous situation, it might prevent us from being more open in the next situation. But I just wish they told us, how important having social skills really was, because sometimes I can't blame somebody for yelling at me for politely asking them to complete a task. Maybe they lack social skills, So I definitely had to reflect on that because it's very important. It's overlooked, and it could easily add to somebody having a pitchfork effect against you.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they're vibing on a low frequency. There's a whole rack of people, different type of people that we're coming in interaction with, and just being socially strong can help you identify certain people that are going through certain issues, so that you can take a better angle to de-escalate the situation. So definitely.
That's so valuable and powerful. And thank you for sharing that. Denard, what's one thing you wish you knew before you started in SPD?
So I'll go the negative route. So,
Hey,
but
hold on, put
I'll
a
put
little
the
love in it. Hold
I'll
on,
put
wait
a
a minute.
love in it. I'll put a love in it at the end. I'll put a positive spin at the
Okay,
end
go sprinkle
because
love on
because
top.
I'll listen to Deville and he definitely said you definitely need those skills. So
Yes.
what I didn't know, so person, two things: how physical it was. I didn't know that I would see so many people dropping with knee injuries, back injuries, all needle sticks, cuts. Somebody in the department today, tomorrow you had they pull their back because a tree fell off a cart and they try to grab it. Or those heavy transport carts, people keep pushing back and forth. People in their 60s, in their 50s, doing this for 20 years, they all of a sudden they just dropping like flies because, I mean, more production means more movement, means more lifting, you know.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I didn't see. And I always do. I always say this once in a while. I always say this. Most people, older folks I know in solar processing wear um, glasses for some reason. I don't know if it's the industry thing or if it's just a coincidence. So that's one thing I noticed. I hope I don't get there.
Ain't
And
nothing
the
wrong with my glasses.
no, but people I see after a certain time, everybody's wearing glasses, and then I don't know if it's the screen of the computers or if it's the heat from the
Right, it is.
autoclave or if it's the detergent in decontam.
On the instrumentation, they're small.
Yes.
So, and the last thing, which is the only negative spin, all the isms in sterile processing. I didn't know there was so many isms floating around, different stereotypes. You have different cliques within the department. The old heads hate the young ones. The single girls hate the girls with a bunch of kids. The guys hate some of the, like there's a whole bunch of little cliques within the department. I know existed. When I came in, I was like, oh, everybody's one, kumbaya. But then you come to find out every little section has its own little dynamic.
Yeah.
You think somebody's your friend, they find out your business, they go tell somebody else. Even some managers involved in that too. So it's like I didn't know there was so many little cliques and stereotypes and stuff going on within the department. But as Deville said, you definitely have to learn how to navigate that and develop those skills to develop relationships.
100%. Kelvin, one thing you wish you knew?
When I first came into SPD, I kind of came in on an interesting path. I didn't go to school. I went to school for Search Tech, but how it happened, whatever. There were a couple of companies that were taking over the SPD department where the staff at the time they were trying to be grandfathered in to get certified, and they were having a hard time. So a particular company came in and took over the department. These two guys, they were making a lot of money in 2011, and this was $30,000 to be an SPD a month. And I'm saying, what?
What?
Exactly. So, and I hear, they still make that and more. So it depends on who you know, but especially who knows you. But that really, really surprised me, lateraling over from the OR to SPD.
Yeah. Definitely. How about
I
you?
want to make that.
30,000 a lot of money, Kelvin.
It's a lot of money.
Give me some
A
of
lot
that.
of money that moves in period.
I want to get an inside track on that.
How about you, Angie? One thing you wish you knew about sterile processing before you got in the field?
I have to say it's what I'm advocating for now is what it is. I mean, I had no idea what I was getting into at such a young age anyways. And, I was aiming towards something completely different. But I think that we have to really get the word out there on what sterile processing is, what we do. A lot of people don't know, a patient goes in for surgery, the instruments magically appear. They just magically got there. They have no idea that there's an entire team behind it. Along with having the social skills, I have to agree with that. You do. Oftentimes, I would say to my staff, "Am I in high school?" Because it really is what it feels like sometimes.
Yes. High school musical part too.
Like you're just coaching a bunch of kids. So I would leave my kids home and then deal with a bunch of kids somewhere else. But yeah, you see that everywhere. But I think we need to bring that strong light on sterile processing. We are as critical as your surgical tech and as your nurse, and you know, you need us to run. I think everybody needs to know what we do, who we are, and what we need to do to get to this point. There's a lot of success stories out there of sterile processing technicians that did everything, got all the way to the top, you know, management without having that MBA, you know, behind their name. So just shining a light on the day to day of sterile processing. Walk a mile in my shoes, you know.
Definitely.
Say it loud. Say it loud.
Say it loud.
Say it loud.
Now say it proud.
Hopefully.
I think what I didn't know, I didn't think that it would take forever for sterile processing technicians to be paid more, and even in leadership. I can't believe even at this point that these health systems are not saying, "Hey, we need these guys." They're just want to call us fill-ins. I would say. I never thought that the hospital actually. I'm not gonna say hospital. I'm gonna say health systems. You know, they just. I don't know. It just bogged my mind. The other thing is morale. Morale, it really affects with your psyche. If it's not a good morale when you come to the department, or the leadership is not building a great one, or if you have someone in leadership that doesn't know what they're doing, or you know never came out and put together a tray, or pushed the sterilization rack in, or went to decon and cleaned out case carts because
You got two tonight, brother. You got two tonight.
Sounds good.
but you know they you know it's hard for staff to relate to you when you're not showing them that you can at least do these things. You can give them the knowledge, anyone can teach, you don't have to touch an instrument at all, but to show them that you can do the work as well as you know knowing it. I took a technician job, you know, for one reason. I needed a job because I was in between jobs. The other reason was I need to know how to be a technician again. I hadn't touched instruments in over 7 years, you know, because I was more into environments that you couldn't do it. So you know, you had to teach, you had to be the educator, but touching instruments was against the rules. So when I tell you going back, it took a little time to get in shape, man. You know, I don't think everyone understands what kind of work we endure, you know, and mentally it kills us. I never knew any of that would be part of the job because when you're taking in class and stuff, it seems like it's a piece of cake. It's a walk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
getting A's and B's.
yeah, the last thing I would say is I never understood. It didn't seem like it when I was starting up the ranks to be a manager, but now everything has to have you have to have a bachelor's degree. You know, to be a supervisor, you have to have an associate's degree. I'm starting to see that more and more. So now I ask myself, and I ask the industry, who do they want running these departments? Because now the specialists, we don't have degrees, you know. So we, you know, some of us do, and you know, there's some pretty smart technicians out there without degrees, and I've seen a plethora of them run a department and run circles even around me, you know. So I think we have to start asking those questions, you know, to the public, politicians, and things of that nature, people of that nature, I would say. Do you really want it to run right? You know, they're trying to make robots to do everything we do. Guess what? They can't, because when it comes to bioburden, who's going to measure that? You know, so those are things that just kind of wow me right now in the industry, and things that I didn't know what will happen uh, coming upon my journey into this world that we're in right now. So, but you have to upgrade yourself. So there's no way around it now.
Surely is not. If you
Yeah,
ain't finding some way to progress, you definitely getting left behind.
real
So
fast.
true. So true.
Because it changes.
You know,
And network.
Yeah.
Please,
And
if you
Speaking
don't,
of
please
that,
network.
please add me on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just
Add
sent you
on
an
link tree.
invite, Ofoe. I thought it
Oh,
was
okay, I appreciate it. I
cool
appreciate it.
picture,
I
man.
definitely anyone please send me, and I'll definitely accept it. Uh, I have been networking a lot, especially for all these facilities I've been going out to. It'd be for the smallest things, but it'd be for the best. So now, we're all growing. So let's all grow together and let's all connect. And I would like, and I used to see it back in the day that, some sterile technicians, I'm going to call us all sterile technicians because I feel like that's where we all started. Um, they have like cruises or, get togethers. I
Hmm.
understand COVID, so don't,
Come on,
I'm
my
just saying, at some point, or let's get some video chats going on. Cause I
Oh
know we can share a
yeah,
lot. I know we can share a lot.
definitely. Be on the lookout from the process. We'll definitely be setting up some meetups, so some virtual meetups. So if you've never heard of that app or website, go on Google right now, search Meetup. You search for sterile processing. We the only group on there, so you'll find us. And also, when the weather gets a little better, we in the summer times we host a video room on Facebook. So, and that's the whole goal is we just open the room for about 3 or 4 hours. Anybody SPD, anybody surgery, healthcare can come in, and we just ham it up on whatever folks want to talk about. So different people be doing different things, biking, walking, whatever. But it's important for us to have places where we can go and we can connect and network with each other, and just talk about what it is to be us in this field. Because, like all of you guys have pointed out so eloquently throughout the show, it's a lot of pressure and it's not an easy job. And a lot of times you don't have the support that you need to execute it, but you have patients that are counting on you. So we get it done, and that's a lot of people count on that for better or for worse. We get it done.
Oh, can I give a
Thank you
shout
guys
out
so
before
much
we get
for
out of here?
joining us and offering your experiences. Yes, please.
I just want to give a shout out to all the hospitals that have been requiring my assistance because it's not easy out there. And, we realize a lot of hospitals are changing. They are seeing what was not good in the past. We understand that the money's not going to come fast for our departments, but as long as it's coming and you're changing, I want to give a shout out to all those health systems that are supporting SPD right now.
Absolutely.
It's been a saying right now, SPD is supposed to be the top of the list, number one or number two. Make it number one because it's going to be first for your patients. And then if you take care of your staff, you'll definitely take care of your patients. So I just want to give a shout out
100%.
to all those health systems.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that too, man. Definitely shout out to my current manager. I'm not gonna shoot out his name, but hopefully he's watching. He's a very good manager, and I've been to a lot of departments. I met some good ones, some bad ones. My first one was exceptional, and the one I currently have right now, he's been doing a very good job too, especially through this crisis. So not just to the health systems, but to the technicians that's actually pulling this load. So definitely shout out to everybody involved.
Shout out to my VP at my agency. I'll just say JT. I don't want to say the name, but I think I work for a very good agency. Yeah, and they're taking care of me. So they're actually taking care of the industry. So shout out to them.
Awesome. Any other shout outs before we head on out, as they say?
Network, network, network.
Network. If you ain't doing it,
Definitely.
Does
we
anyone have
doing
any projects they want to talk about, Angie?
I'm working on my Say It Loud. We will be rolling live shows weekly soon enough. So that will be coming.
it. Woo!
I will be sharing content in Spanish and English, guys. So
Hey,
if you're
let's
not
go.
following me, start doing it.
Start doing it. Don't get left behind.
Angie, I actually have somebody that I might send your way. Me and Kelvin was teaching a course for some technicians at Sibley that weren't certified. And we also caught the attention of some personnel that was working in EVS that was turning over the OR rooms and stuff like that. One little sweet lady came to me, Ms. Rosa. She was exceptional, but it was a language barrier there. But though with the language barrier, she was still excelling past people that actually spoke fluent English. Um, Due to the fact that and she was very passionate about it.
Yeah.
I always gave
Hell
her
yeah.
that credit. Like Miss Rose is always on time. She's always answering questions. She have questions of her own. She knew the process. Unfortunately, something did happen in that facility, and I kind of lost contact with her in regards to the teaching. But I would definitely like to touch bases with her and have her, link up with you via Zoom or whatever it is, just so you can further assist.
Happy to help. I'm happy to help. That's why I'm putting it out there. Sometimes it's very simple. The way things are translated. That's
true. And I believe in what you're doing, because I want to do the same thing for my Haitian community as well. We have Haitians that's working in factories and produce. I've worked with them there, and some of them want to get into what I want to get into, what I'm into, what we're doing, but they just don't have that language, that strength with the language yet. So definitely translated something into Creole, something that I want to work towards. I do know a lot of people within the DMV area that are interested in taking sterile processing. They will have the Hispanic background, so we should definitely connect with that. I could definitely see what I could do.
Let's say sterile processing.
Please uplift it. And yes, and the Process Network is definitely here. So if you guys have content that you want us to air on the network, we want to do whatever we can to support you, because it's important that we are able to bridge the gaps in language, so that people can be safe and that folks have access to these careers that they absolutely can perform, can excel in, and that shouldn't be something that holds a family back. So I'm just so happy.
I definitely believe that if more individuals who are like-minded as this group come together, like I see the Meetup, I see Say It Loud, but if they can be a consortium of individuals that come together, we can kind of become the gatekeepers for that next generation of sterile processors. Yes. So that's something that we can also think about in the short term or long term.
So are we saying that, please, leaders, teach your sterile processing techs to be instrument techs? Please. So they can do what they need to do.
Please.
Let's
do that.
Cross train these people, please.
What help a lot is if the OR stop hiring educators for SPD that have no idea about what we do in SPD.
Woo! Listen, don't look. That's a sore spot on the process.
I love when these.
I'm gonna just say it.
My job is to teach you what you need to do to pass Joint Commission, and I'll say, well, how much do you know about it? Not very much. You have anything that can help me? Here's ST79. Here's ST91.
Right.
Yeah.
Educate the educator.
Educate the educator. Yeah. My God. And it lends itself to that partnership conversation too, because I cannot tell you how many times I've had like infection control nurses or risk managers come to my office and say, can you give me a crash course and everything I need to know about point of use clinic? No, I cannot. But what we could do is give me part of that check and let me go do this work that I clearly can't perform. Look, we ain't finna go back into it. I don't understand.
Don't go into that. That's
but
a
I
whole
will
new
say
show.
this, right? A whole new show. I will say this. I don't believe that anyone should be allowed to manage a sterile processing department that does not have a current CRCST. I don't care what other letters you have behind your name. If you didn't take that test, you should not be managing that department.
They're giving it to a lot of nurses, though. So
get out.
Them included.
Come on. Yeah, go.
But you
Wrong
gotta
button.
That's
a whole new show.
Whole new show.
That's
you
a
gotta
whole
step
new
back.
show.
That's
and
another
get
2
that
hours.
CRCST, okay? All right. Thank
Not
you guys.
on my CRCST.
Not on my CRCST.
Thank you for having us, man.
Thank y'all for coming in. We look forward to having you back.
Everybody.
All right, guys.
Angie,
That's
good to
another
see you
one.
again.
So
Alexander,
if you are
nice
on
to meet the two
YouTube,
new guys.
yes, if you are on YouTube,
Yes, sir.
click that pinky finger and like, share, and subscribe. And that is another episode of The Process.
Peace.
Peace.
That's love.
Peace.